Hello, everyone. My name is Ivana Đuroković, and I'm intercultural communication consultant. It is a great honor and pleasure to introduce my guest today. He is the Indian ambassador, His Excellency, Mr. Srivastava. On several occasions, I have had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Srivastava and conclude that he is an excellent intercultural communicator. Although he has only been in Croatia for a year, he knows more about it than some Croatians. How do you feel in Croatia? How do you like it?
Yes, so I like Croatia, first of all, because we feel, not only I with my family, with my wife and my daughter here, we feel very much at home. And this is not a diplomatic statement. This is a real fact that we feel very much at home in terms of the way the life is organized here in Croatia. For example, just to prove the point that I'm saying, say agriculture. Now, we know that most developed countries, the agriculture is very much industrial agriculture, where you produce for masses, because economy of scale helps you to make bigger profit. But in Croatia, for maybe some people will criticize it from economic point of view, but the agriculture is all organic. So when you go to buy organic product, a lot of people say, but what do you mean organic agriculture? Our agriculture is all organic, and only thing that you can probably ask this higher level of organic agriculture, which is biodynamic, which means one level up. So you never have to bother about whether the products that you are eating are naturally grown. And that's very crucial, because people increasingly are becoming health conscious, becoming like feeling that what you are eating is what you become. And in that context, we feel very much at home, because this is one of the essential principles of Indian philosophical thoughts, that you have to be in symbiosis or synergy with the nature. And the philosophy of yoga and Ayurveda is precisely this. And that we see in the day-to-day life in Croatia, in terms of what we see in the agricultural market. There is another market, which is what you call the seafood. And there is a bit of industrialization, but still, I think Adriatic food is absolutely superb. So then the second part of is the way you live the life with the nature, that mountaineering, hiking, biking, sports activities are so crucial, is part of the integral part of Croatian society. That in this time of pandemic, I think two things have become most important: what you eat and how do you manage the stress. And both of these things are naturally done here in Croatia. That's why probably numbers may be high in terms of infection, but people are not scared so much, because you are doing a lifestyle which is sustainable. So that's why I would say that we are very happy to be in Croatia. It's not that there are other places where we would not be happier or would not be happy enough, but definitely in Croatia, we don't found any problem in terms of settling down or living day-to-day life happily. And there are other parts is more professional. There's a lot to do because there are great opportunities to promote our relationship.
Thank you, and you are more than welcome in Croatia, you and your family. I know that this is not your first diplomatic mission in Europe, that you already been in some European countries, but is there something in Croatia that is special, not special like what you said now, but something strange that you didn't feel or had opportunity to experience in other European countries and also in India?
Yes, I have spent 7 years of my life in Europe before coming to Croatia. Now 1 year, so I've spent 8 years in Europe. So yes, I have the experience of living in Europe, but my own life has changed. So my sensors have probably sharpened. So today, what I experience of Europe in Croatia is very different than what I experienced in 1999 in Spain. because that was 22 years back. And that time, my sensors as a human being were different at a level of experience, a level of how I looked the life or how I looked the nature. Plus, India was different. I was an Indian diplomat then, I am an Indian diplomat now. And in both those contexts, India has changed in 22 years. So people, the way they look at me in those two countries like Spain and Croatia now are different. So if I spend the same time today in Spain, probably my experience in Spain will also be different than what I experienced 22 years back. So I must qualify that I cannot generalize my experience of 2 decades back of Spain or a decade back of Austria to now in Croatia. But still, one important aspect that I find not as a difference, but actually peculiarity of a commonality between Spain and Austria in a very general sense, that when you look at anything north of Zagreb, I feel like that I am in Austria. And when I go south of Zagreb, I feel like I'm in Spain. So in a way, it's a very good coincidence. It's not a design by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Government of India, but it's a very good coincidence for me personally to now experience my Spanish experience and Austrian experience together in one country, going north and going south. So this is a very good coincidence for me to spend this, and my past 7 years experience is helping me to do probably better way that I would have done 10 years back in Austria or 20 years back in Spain.
Today we are going to talk about also cooperation between India and Croatia. And can you tell me what kind of cooperation already exists?
Yeah, so, we have a very good understanding at the level of governments that we have a complete convergence on important issues of global politics, global understanding, multilateral issues. So we talk more or less the same language when we are in global platforms, like in UN or climate change issues of global security, issues of maritime security, issues of cyber security. We have almost similar views in terms of what the global multipolar world should do to ensure more peace and stability in the world. So in that sense, a very, very good relationship. We help each other most of the time. Our diplomats are seeing the world with the same vision. So that is not a problem area. It's in fact where we can do work together, which only improves our relationship. So that is one at the government to government level. Bilaterally at the government to government level, I would say that we have not given enough attention, but there's nothing to be blamed about. It's just that everything needs its time to come. In a democratic country like India and Croatia, I think we believe in a bottom-up development. There's no point in just meeting for the sake of meeting and say that the two prime ministers have met or two presidents have met and did a lot of meetings together. Because ultimately what those meetings deliver to the people of the two countries is what count in democracy. And that's why I and current government of India, and I am sure that government of Prime Minister Plenković also focused on what the people can benefit from the good diplomacy. And that's why I would say a lot of importance is given today on B2B relationship and P2P relationship, that is business to business and people to people. So you would see a lot of our activities are focused on how our people can come together. And once they come together, it's not our job to tell them opportunities because they are good enough, smart enough to find the good opportunities. What we need to do is making platforms where the right kind of people can find it easy to meet. Whether it is in digital world or physical world, that's not the matter. What is important is put some time together. For example, we are establishing now India-Croatia startup bridge. What does that mean? That the startup community of India is very, very advanced. They have done tremendous progress in the last decade or so. We have 100 unicorns as the Credit Suisse study in March came out. But if you take different parameters, we have probably 65 startups which are unicorns, which basically means that there is an exponential growth in India happening in this field. Croatia is also increasingly focusing on innovation. Croatia will benefit a lot if they get connected on a dedicated platform where they can interact on a regular frequency with Indian counterparts, be it investors, be it venture capital companies, be it incubators, or the startups themselves. So now if this platform is established, you are creating and facilitating a process through which right kind of people meet much more frequently and much more streamlined fashion. They don't have to do surfing themselves, but it will be done for them by the governments or the institutions. This is our role. Our role is to create platforms so that more meaningful interactions can happen, and then the opportunities will convert into realities.
So that startup bridge, it's already happened. You opened that bridge, and how does it work? I know that you have...
Right, so we are working on this in terms of connecting Hamag Bikro and Startup India, and this bridge will be launched before the end of this year. But that bridge does not mean that activities are not happening already. For example, a bird incubator run by Mr. Drasan Oreshchanin already have few startups from India working either remotely or physically in Zagreb. Similarly, I know a Croatian startup in Samobor is already outsourcing some of the code writing for its drone program from India. I know somebody who is doing an artificial intelligence, some people sitting in Chennai providing technical assistance to a Croatian startup. It's not meaning that people will not find a way to do things which are beneficial to them. Our role is to make those things much more democratic so that those people who know because they are more aggressive and more what you call resourceful achieve it. But also those who are shy but still find an institutional mechanism to do it, even though they are not aggressive as some of their other competitors are. So the whole idea is that when we do these things between two democracies, we democratize the opportunity. And that is the word that I would like to highlight. The word democratizing the opportunity is the focus of today's diplomacy.
We mentioned startups, and what else?
Right.
What
There
else?
are many things. I give you one example because that's innovation ecosystem, but there are examples like, for example, Croatia is increasingly becoming a European economy. Croatia is an EU country from 2013, but it is not a completely European economy because it is not part of Schengen, it is not part of Eurozone. It will become eventually and hopefully sooner than later. So naturally, you are looking at a country which is increasingly becoming a European economy, but not yet there. And if some company wants to look from India towards Europe, probably this is a great opportunity for them to make Croatia as the base for their European operations. Why? Because Croatia is giving extra incentives, and if not giving, they should provide more so that Croatia can become a place for global entrepreneurship. At least for the region and for Europe. And this is what I would like to promote, I would like to emphasize, and your embassy in Delhi should emphasize that Croatia provides that incentive, Croatia provides that work-life balance offer to people who will work here. And Croatia has a digital nomad policy. That means you can sit here and work for France, work for Germany. So I think there are certain niche that Croatia provides. Croatia has a very good institutions. That's why we are working on establishing new partnerships among institutions like University of Zagreb. FER is connected to another IIT from India in Gandhinagar, or FERIT, Ferret of University of Osijek is now connected to IIT Indore. This all happened in this 1 year. University of Rijeka is now connected to Kalinga Institute of Technology from east of India. So my idea is also not just connect Delhi, Bombay, and Chennai and Kolkata, also connect the new India, which resides in whole of India from different parts of India, which is aspiring and where there is huge potential of growth yet left. So that is the new kind of partnership that we are building, connecting youth, connecting innovation ecosystems, connecting businesses, and shortening the time that they would otherwise take without this facilitation.
What is your advice? How to attract more Indian tourists to Croatia?
Yeah, I believe that Indian tourists, first of all, it will be very difficult to generalize anything about India. because India is too diverse a country to say something would be true for whole of India. So whatever I'm saying is options in terms of what one particular kind of group of Indian tourists would like. And then you can generalize it for some others in other forms. So for example, tourism with the sports focus, that means you would find somebody who would come for adventure tourism to do sea sports, and for which you are very good facilities in Dalmatian coast. There will be tourists who will just come for going for nature walks. So there are people who would come for Kirka National Park or Plitvice National Park. Some people will come just to be there where the shooting of Indian movies was done, to be there at the place and take a selfie. So that's why this idea of promoting Croatia through an Indian Bollywood movie, and not just by providing site, but a storyline which is done in Croatia. For example, people-to-people connection between an Indian person and a Croatian person as part of their storyline, so that they can show the family life, Rijeka Carnival, showing cherry blossom in some of the, like, it's not popular, like people don't know that you are a flower loving country. I have been amazed in last 1 year that there is continuous season of flowers, and it's Zagreb is full of those sequential flower, including the whole Zagreb converts into rose garden. So there are people who would come just for that, to spend time when there's roses are blooming all around the city, to watching that with awe. So I'm saying that there's versatile kind of options that Croatia has. It needs to be promoting it, that it's not just Dubrovnik. It's not just Game of Thrones that people have probably seen in one of the TV series. It is also important to know that Indian tourists in general would come on a non-European tourist season. Why? Because August is actually July, August, the schools open in India. So Indian tourists will rather come in May, June. So in a way, it's Indian tourism will also provide you the complementarity that when you have lesser tourists from Europe, you can expect more tourists from India. And that doesn't put extra pressure on your peak season. So that's a good part of Indian tourism too, as compared to, say, European tourism. August is a functioning month in terms of schools and bureaucracy in India. So people would not be traveling so much in August as some compared, say, in June. So that's another important peculiarity of Indian tourism. And lastly, I would say that India is increasingly growing, and like in terms of economic growth, so the middle class is moving towards upper middle class. And this is the market of around about 400 million people, 100 times bigger than Croatia, who are actually looking for new destinations to explore the world. And in that context, Croatia needs to promote itself as a country which provides the diversity, that you can enjoy the whole diversity within one country by road without bothering too much of air travel. So just come to Croatia and travel within. So you have Istria, which is a totally different kind of 360 vision, going to a small hilltop, eating wonderful truffles, having very nice Tiran wine, and come to Dalmatian coast and enjoy a totally different kind of cuisine, even though it's just like 2-hour drive away. Go to Zagreb in 1.5 hours and you have a continental Europe. So there is huge diversity. You go to Osijek and you can enjoy the spicy fish paprikas. This is what Indian people would like to enjoy, but they don't know about it, that there is so much of diversity in your tourism. It's just not going to Diocletian Palace. It has multiple things that you can do. So some friends of me asked me that, I'm going to US and I am supposed to do quarantine before going to US, and Croatia is apparently a green country. Can I spend 2 weeks in Croatia? And I gave them the itinerary of 2 weeks, which was totally different from first day to another day. And they happily used that opportunity of quarantining in Croatia while enjoying that two weeks time. Quarantining in the sense from the US perspective, but in Croatia they were allowed because they had the negative RT-PCR test. So in that sense, they fulfilled the requirement of US and enjoyed those 2 weeks, totally diverse tourism, all 14 days. So this is one idea that I would like to say, that you have that and you are promoting it, but you need to be more visible in India, keeping in mind that India has a huge 100 times bigger population than Croatia, which is upper middle class looking for foreign destination.
I hope in the future we will going to be much more visible, and we will make this people to people and business to business connection. So I hope our tourism will find a very good market there. When you talk about food and about wines, and do you have any preference? Do you like some special food, or maybe some sort of wine that you like here in Croatia?
Yes, of course. You have a wonderful, as I mentioned at the start of the discussion today, that why I liked and felt at home, because you do things for a small group of people. You are not focused so much about huge market. So your production is not tuned towards economy of scale. And that is applicable to your wine industry also. I have visited some of the boutique wineries who produce 10,000 bottles, but their more focus is each bottle is quality wise assured, rather than producing 100,000 bottles and sending it all across the globe. So that is the quality. You might be paying 10% extra, but the quality is superlative, excellent, anywhere comparable in the world, probably better. It's just that you don't produce enough for the world to taste it. But people, as a tourist who come here, they would definitely enjoy it, because what you call gastronomy and culinary delights is part of the tourism.
Yeah, and you liked fish paprikas also?
I like everything. I like fish paprikas because it gives me a bit of feeling of Rogan Josh, which is a very popular dish in India. If you put Rogan Josh on left bowl and the fish paprikas in the right bowl, the color will be exactly same. It's just a question of that maybe Indian will be slightly more spicier. But that you feel like that at home when you're eating fish paprikas, in terms of taste, in terms of preparation also, the slow cooking. Most of the Indian cuisine, which is most tasty and popular in the world, is that which is done over slow cooking. You actually enjoy the process of cooking as much as you enjoy the process of eating it. In fact, in Ayurveda, it is said that the food is a complete experience of starting to cutting the vegetables to finally taking a walk after you finish the lunch. So it is a complete process. It's just not the food taking on the table. And that's where I think slow cooking also is important to showcase the culinary aspects of Croatian tourism.
Thank you very much for this interview and for your time.
So I must tell you that next year, in fact, we are celebrating 75th anniversary of India's independence as a process of 2 years, starting from say 12th March this year to 2023 August. So you will see many activities of Indian culture being shown here in Croatia. And in that context, we already know that next year there will be 3 very, very diverse groups of musicians, dancers, and folkloric exposition next year in Croatia. And similarly, we are promoting that Croatia should send some of their cultural aspects to India. So you would actually see more of India in Croatia and more of Croatia in India next year. This will improve the visibility that we talked about.
I look forward, and I'm sure that I will enjoy it, and the most Croatian people will know more and more about India through the custom and the folklore, and it will be great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best to you.